How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. No, yeah, things are good. Just the last couple of weeks I got on TikTok, so that's going really good.
Yeah, I
There's a
saw that.
yeah, there's a lot more people. Just that's the end of it is there's a lot more people on TikTok than just about anywhere else right now. So yeah, I've got to be careful about what I say on TikTok. I can't use the foul language that I normally use. I can't smoke cigarettes on TikTok. You gotta be really G-rated, but that's okay.
That's cool. It's another way for you to have followers and talk about you.
Yeah, yeah. And my biggest motivation for that is, look, a lot of people need what I have to offer, like the information about magic and the the details of how you can actually take control of your life. I'm going to be honest with you, dude. This world's going crazy. This world's going crazy, and I think we need this advantage to get through it.
Yeah, yeah, truly.
Yeah.
So I prepared questions for you.
Awesome.
When will be published the next World Domination Spells books about Baneful Magic?
Oh, the one about painful magic. I don't know. The problem with that, so I've started writing that with Andy Blackwood and myself. We both started writing that book. That was going to be put out this year. It was going to be put out this like a couple months ago was the original plan. But I mean, to be honest with you, Timothy is afraid to put it out. He's afraid that if we release that book, that we're going to get shut down completely, that we'll lose our business completely. After the cancel culture coming after me a couple years ago, I think we've got to be a bit more careful. So this is a book that we're writing. It is being created, but when we release it, I mean, it might be sometime next year. It might be a little bit after that. So that's hard. That's hard to say. But the next World Domination spellbook I have coming out is actually going to be coming out in September, and that'll be protection magic. Because that's one of the things when Timothy and I started talking about that it's really not the right time to put out baneful magic. That's a dangerous thing for us to put out there right now. Yeah. I started thinking about it. I was like, you know what? Before we put out baneful magic, before we teach people how to put curses, we ought to teach people how to do protection. And so that's what the next spell book is going to be. It's all protection, self-defense magic. And so what I've done with that is I looked at all the different curses that I looked at the different curses that I use against people, and I figured out how to counteract those. And so basically, you'll be able to counteract any kind of magic coming your way with this.
Awesome.
Yeah. I'm going to be honest with you. It really kind of hurts my soul to not put out something that I want to put out. Like, yeah, it's I hate being censored. Like the worst thing people can do to me is try to make me shut up. And so for that to be something I've got to look at and go, oh, you're right. It's not the right time to put this out. We have to wait. It really bothers me, but it is the best decision.
Yeah. Do you think everyone can achieve success by applying the techniques of become a living god for themselves?
Yes, absolutely. Look, every single person's walking around this earth. Every one of us are gods and goddesses walking this earth. And it doesn't matter, people will feel like they don't have any energy or power. No, you do. You just have to find ways of letting it out. And I'm going to say the biggest thing that I think is going to work for everybody is finding ways of triggering your own emotions in ritual. So, because, if you just go into a ritual and you're just like, la-di-da, let's see if this spirit appears, you're not going to get anything. But if you go into it with anger, you go into it with love or with passion, that's the big key is passion. If you can find a way to make yourself passionate while you're doing the ritual, it's going to be flawless. And so that is something everybody can tap into. But the biggest thing I think is that most people suppress their emotions. Most people don't want to feel too lustful or too angry or too sad. And so that's the first thing I think you have to do in magic is start to take those walls off of your emotions and let yourself really feel things really, really deeply especially intense emotions like anger, frustration, sadness. Those are great power sources for the ritual, but you have to be willing to go to those dark places. I think that's why, black magic is a bit unique, that it's different than all the other things out there, because black magic gives you a way of taking the negative things and using it. The phrase that I've always used is that it shows you how you can take all of the shit in your life and turn it into gold.
Yeah.
But you have to first be able to like handle the shit and go, oh, I've got a lot of shit here. I got a lot of stuff I don't like. I got a lot of anger. I've got a lot of things in this life that aren't working out for me. And you have to be able to sit with that and actually let yourself get pissed off, let yourself get sad, and then use that in the ritual, because that energy, that emotion is what's creating that energy.
Yeah. I mean, totally, because recently I struggled a lot with cocaine, and it was really hard. And what motivated me to stop it, to quit it was magic. In fact, I wasn't able to do nice magic and the cocaine, and I quit that 3 weeks ago, and I don't take one bit anymore. And I'm really happy to find energy to make my magic like I want to do it. So.
Yeah, drug addiction is a really tricky situation, because for me, while I was using all the drugs I was using, I thought that they were helping me. I thought that if I don't do meth, I can't get all the work done if I want to. If I don't do cocaine, I can't have fun with my friends, or drink. I don't even drink anymore. But all of these things, it was like I had these illusions and delusions about the benefit I was getting from those things. And once I was able to put it all down and step away from it for good, it was like, oh wait, I didn't need those. In fact, they weren't helping me at all. They were hurting me every step of the way. And especially with magic, especially with from my experience, stimulants, cocaine, methamphetamines, even to some degree, nicotine and caffeine ground you. They bring you back closer to this earth. And that's actually part of the reason I really enjoy smoking cigarettes, is my mind gets a little high sometimes. I get a little out there. And so I smoke a cigarette and it brings me back to earth, So yeah, again, and that's what is known. Tobacco has been known in a lot of cultures to be a grounding herb, that it does ground you, it grounds your energy. So, but with the more intense the stimulant, the more grounded you are, and that can really get in the way of accessing your energy and accessing your spirituality.
Yeah. Do you have some times when you attain apotheosis and total godhood?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Do you have some times when you reach total godhood and apotheosis in your magic path working?
Oh geez, I don't know that I understand the question, brother.
Okay, no, I mean, how to say that? Do you have times or your life is normal, and sometimes when you practice a lot of magic, when you attain apotheosis and total godhood, and you feel like a god, a true god, for several days, and then it goes down again and it comes back, and then
yes, absolutely. So the way I've come to understand my energy is it's like waves, and so sometimes that wave is high and sometimes it's low.
mm-hmm.
And if my energy is low and there's no reason for it really, it's like there's nothing bad going on in my life and I feel good, but I just don't have that like godlike feeling. It's really just a signal for me. This is not the time that you're, it's not the time that you're in this highly productive, highly spiritual connected state, and that's okay. So I kind of I'll give myself a lot of leeway, but usually, I'm going to be honest with you, usually that's only when I'm sick. Like I won't notice it at first. I won't notice that I'm sick. I'll just notice I don't have energy. I can't really focus the same way. Maybe I'm trying to soul travel and I can't even get out of my body. And I'm like, what's going on here? Or I try to summon a spirit and nothing shows up. And so I'm gonna be honest, I kind of beat up on myself. I'm like, oh, what the fuck's wrong with you, man? You're supposed to be the best magician in the world. You can't even do this stuff. But then I find out, like the next day, I wake up and I start throwing up, or I'm all, it's congested, and it turns out I had some sort of illness, and so that illness is taking all of my energy. So most of the time, it's there is something that I'm not aware of that's taking my energy, that's not allowing me to be at that top level. But honestly, though, because we're talking about, because you're saying basically like, will I find myself just like in the high state of godhood and stuff? Not, I don't find myself there by accident. I find myself there by daily practice. By I wake up and do a morning meditation and morning energy work, and if I'm doing the things that I need to do, eating, and it's not even like I have to eat good food. I just have to eat. Like my impulse is not to eat. Like my impulse is actually like I don't love food, and so like I'll just go. Like today, it's like it's 2 o'clock. I just barely ate for the first time today at like 1:30, and so I've got to remind myself like eat food, sleep, get plenty of sleep, get take care of yourself. Just all these self-care things, and then on top of that, any spiritual practices, and that does get me to that place of feeling, just having that absolute godlike reality. And it's not even just a feeling, because it is like I can see that the whole world goes better when I'm in that better state. My whole reality just lays out in front of me. Yeah. I don't know if did that answer your question at all?
Sorry. What's your favorite book you've written?
The favorite book I've written? Oh boy.
If you have one.
I'd have to say Book of Azazel. Book of Azazel. It's
awesome.
It's a classic, and but I like just about everything I write, for sure. I really enjoy writing, but that book was something else. So like today, if I pick up Book of Azazel right now and start reading it, I didn't write that. Like that's something else wrote that book. It just came through me to write it. So when I read it, because like most of my stuff, I read my own books, and it's just my writing. It's just me. It's like, and I don't just sit around talking to myself all day. I don't love that. But with Book of Azazel, it's not me. It's something else came through me, and so that book, in my opinion, is a very special prophetic book.
Yeah. And what's awesome, it's the first time we see the universal circle. That was the circle of Pax.
Yeah. That was the circle of Pax in the Book of Azazel. And the original circle of Pax in the Book of Azazel had some different symbols inside of it and whatever. And when I was designing the universal circle, I realized that a lot of the stuff that's inside isn't really necessary. It's not even, those aren't even sigils. They're actually place markers. Like if you look at the actual original circle of Pax, which I didn't create that. I actually got that. I got the circle of Pax. All the stuff that's in the center of that is from, I believe it's Eliphas Levi created that. And then, so I took that and combined that with what we now know as the universal circle. And so when I created the universal circle, I just basically extracted those two, pulled them apart again, and just used my creation.
And are you happy to see so much people buy your universal circle? I mean, every black magician almost have the universal circle. And it's kind of crazy how the success it had.
Yeah, I didn't. So I didn't think it was going to be successful at all. I actually was talking to Timothy, and I said, I need to get some sort of circle that I can do all my magic in, because mainly for video, because I'm on video. Some of my first videos, I've just got like a sheet with marker around it. It looked like crap. I was like, I want to have something professional that I can actually use. I can take out to locations, because that's another thing. When I was using like a sheet with drawings on it, I take it out, put it in the rocks, and then before the ritual is done, it's all torn up. And so I was like, I need something that'll last. I need something that looks good, and I need something that has the magical resonance to it. And so Timothy found somebody that could create this for me. And he says, how many do we want? I'm like, maybe 3. So that way, if I mess up 2 of them, I have an extra. So give me 3 of them. And he's like, 3? He goes, no, we're going to order 30 of them to begin. I'm like, 30? I'm like, I'm not going to do anything. He's like, no, we're going to sell these. I was like, no, nobody wants this shit. Like, come on. And he's like, no, people will. And so we just made it available, threw it out there, and people love it. But the real cool thing for me, it's not the money that I can make off of it, the amount of people buy it. It's the fact that every universal circle is connected psychically. So as I use my universal circle and it gets more powerful, everybody's universal circle get more powerful. And so we're all adding to each other's magic with this, even unconsciously. Even if people don't know that that's what they're doing, if you bought a universal circle from me, you're buying the universal circle that is connected between all of us.
In addition, what is crazy is it's cheaper than all the circles that we can find on other internet sites. Sometimes attain $3,000 the circle, and it's not a better quality.
Yeah, yeah. And I'll tell you what, there are a lot of people that sell circles out there, and I bought one of them at one point for I think it was like almost $1,000. And it was just a sheet. It was the same thing I could make at home. It was a sheet with marker. And I was like, really? This is what you're selling? A lot of the screen printing places don't do that great of a job. You know, one of the real secrets of running a good business is sourcing. You know, where you're getting your products from. And so like with books, with the universal circles, with everything that we do, we really make sure we've got good sourcing on all of our materials, so that way it is a high quality product.
What are your future projects for Become a Living God?
Ooh, so I've got a book that's coming out this December that is I certainly hope that it's gonna just blow people's minds, because it's blown my mind. It's called Zoesha. The word Zoesha means it's the currents or the magic of life. And so what this is it's a system of alchemy, of demonic alchemy, where I've found ways. I'm working with 3 different black magicians for the last 3 years. We've been working on this system of learning how to extract the powers from demons and then use those in alchemical rituals. So take a little piece of Paimon, a little piece of Beelzebub, put those together and see what it creates. And so this is going to be a really awesome book of that, where we've taken all of the demons of the Goesha, and we have different formulas that you can use to plug these together to create these rituals to do some amazing stuff for you. So that'll be coming out right around Christmas time this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I can't wait to read it.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. It's like I said, this has been 3 years that we've been working on this to make sure that the system is perfect and using it in our lives and everything. And this is like, so we worked with this for about 2 years, just ourselves, just us 3. It's just three black magicians that I just work with privately, and we were working through some of this system. And then we kind of hit a point of going, well, we need to make a book out of this. We need to give this to the world. And so last year, on Walpurgisnacht 2022, I did a ritual where I created in my backyard a triangle and a circle. And the triangle, I dug the ground out and poured concrete in there, so I can pour gasoline or kerosene or alcohol in there and light it on fire, and then it's an entire huge triangle of fire.
Yeah,
nice. And so I lit it on fire. I summoned Satan into the circle. I didn't summon him into the triangle. I summoned him into the circle, so Satan is in the circle with me. And then I stepped into the triangle while it's all on fire, and I had a chair there, and I had my journal, and I just sat down and said, Satan, give me the Zoesha. Give me whatever instructions I need. Give me the material that I need. And I started filling up that notebook with all the notes I needed, and then for this last year, we've been turning this into a book. So yeah.
I had one question. When I do evocation of a demon, I get used to go in the triangle with the demon. Is it something that I shouldn't do? It's dangerous, or can I keep going doing that and to have the most spectacular energy of the demon? And sometimes it's overwhelming a few days after it, but I love to do that. It's something I like to do. Is it dangerous for a beginner magician to do that?
You know, okay, so what you're talking about is that's pretty advanced magic. So should a new magician, well, okay, so like one of the things I started seeing, I started playing with, I think I was like 19, 20 years old. And I started, I would summon the spirit and then step outside the circle. And maybe just sit there with the spirit. Sometimes I almost every time I'd step outside the circle and I could feel the spirit just, and usually at that point it's more than one spirit, because this is something people don't understand. If you summon a high power spirit, like let's say King Paimon, it's not just King Paimon that comes, it's King Paimon and all of his armies come. You know, so if you actually, when you're doing the evocation, most people, you're just looking at King Paimon, you're just having a conversation with him. But if you pull your vision back and look around, the entire room is full of his spirits. Yeah. And so with that, when I step outside the circle, I can feel them all just come around me, and they circle around me. And it is, like you say, a really close connection with them. But a couple things. First off, a couple things that would keep a new magician from being able to do this. First off, you have to be able to summon the spirit up until you can actually have an awareness that it's there. Most people are going to take some time to build up to that. And then, I mean, look, man, this kind of stuff is dangerous. Like, it really is dangerous. You know, I've seen people get thrown around by demons. I've seen people actually have physical encounters with demons. And so something like that, stepping over the threshold, that is, that opens you up to really direct contact. And so the reason I would say that that's probably not wise for a beginner is you got to get to know the demon first. You got to get to know, make sure that it's a demon that you trust, you know? Yeah. And then there's a matter of just building up your confidence. Cause like after a while, like for my first probably year or 2 years of doing evocations, I was scared every time. Every time the spirit would show up, it was always like, whoa, shit, it's too much power, it's too much darkness, it's too much evil, whatever it is that I was feeling off of that spirit. And so it got me, it took me like a good year or 2 years of doing evocations constantly, to the point that I could relax into it. Okay, I know it's scary, I know there's a monster standing right here, but I'm not reacting to it in the same way, you know? Oh, yeah. But those things, you know, you said something really important there. You said, you know, something along the lines that you felt like maybe you're breaking the rules, you're doing something you're not supposed to be doing. That's black magic. Like, you know, that's what you should do, is you should find out where the boundaries are and then go past them every time.
Yeah. And I had another weird question, but are you a vampire?
Okay, so the question was you know, am I a vampire? No, not all the time. Not all the time. I can turn it on and off when I need to. And when I do turn it off, or when I turn it on, you know, when I say turn it on, it's basically a matter of engaging in vampirism and just doing it. When I turn it on, it's right there to life. All of the mechanisms are there, and I'm able to feed, and I'm able to move this blood essence around. I'm able to do everything with it that I need to do. But one of the interesting things that I noticed is when I'm actively engaged in vampirism, I get a lot more disciplined with everything. I wake up earlier, you know, which is weird because you would think you sleep at night, but I don't. I wake up early in the morning. I get a lot more work done. I smoke a lot less cigarettes. I don't spend time playing video games. I'm always like working and doing things. And maybe it's because I like have a lot more energy in those moments when I'm doing vampirism. But yeah, but I don't really identify as a vampire unless I'm doing vampirism. It's like, I don't consider myself a Satanist unless I'm actually working with Satan. If I'm not working with Satan, I'm not a Satanist. I'm a Luciferian if I'm working with Lucifer. I'm a Beelzebubian if I'm working with Beelzebub, you know? But yeah, because really, I'm going to be honest with you, because who I am, what I am, it's not anything you can put a label or a name to. Like, I exist right now. I don't even exist in this body. This is the crazy thing, Daffy. I don't even exist in this body. I exist everywhere, and I use this body to communicate with the world. That's it. And so with that, Can my eternal self be a vampire? My eternal self is way beyond vampirism, way beyond anything that could have a title or a name. And it's not just me, like we all are. I've just had the conscious understanding of that.
Yeah, it's a bit like for me, I engaged a lot in vampirism, but sometimes I miss the traditional way of evocation and sitting in a circle and evoke a demon the way I learned with Become a Living God. So
Yeah.
yeah, I would say the same for me. When I'm working with Satan, I'm a Satanist. When I'm working with Lucifer, I'm a Luciferian. But
Yeah.
I don't label myself a Satanist
Mhm.
because
Yeah. Well,
there's
there's
too
so many
much
just limits.
restriction in that.
Yeah.
If I'm only a Satanist, I don't like all the Satanists do with the magic.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, at the same time, like, look, I can pray to God in the name of Jesus, and I will feel the Holy Spirit here, and I will have a manifestation of Jesus in some way. So in that moment, I might be a Christian, and that's okay. But that's my thought with it is like, as a black magician, you should be able to jump into any system and use it perfectly, and then move on.
Yeah,
It's almost like there's a close connection there with black magic and chaos magic. The chaos magic starts to border into that, where it's like you can do whatever you want. The problem I have with chaos magic, though, it's a little too open. Like, it's because the whole idea is it's all in your imagination, it's all in your mind, and that's what's controlling things. And I'm like, no, no, no. I've talked to enough demons that I know they're not just in my mind. They're so far beyond that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Chaos magic is yeah, it's weird because you can use everything in everything in and
Mm-hmm.
you can evoke Darth Vader in front of
Right.
you and he gives you a lightsaber or something.
That's so funny you say that. Because I love Star Wars. I'm a really big Star Wars nerd.
Me too.
Man, I'll sit like for at night before I go to bed. I like to watch a TV show or a movie or something. I'll usually just watch like a half hour to an hour and then I fall asleep. But I'll do that. I'll put on Star Wars and I just watch the entire thing from episode one all the way through, and then I go back episode one all the way through. I've got a bunch of like lightsabers on my wall over there that I'll go take outside and play with. But I've never actually summoned. I don't think I would evoke. I don't think I would evoke Darth Vader. I think I would evoke a true Sith Lord. Darth Vader, I'm going to be honest, Darth Vader was cool. He was not a true Sith Lord, because a true Sith Lord it is the master with an apprentice. And Darth Vader was always pretty much the apprentice.
Yeah,
So I'd rather call
the
on
Emperor.
the Emperor, or actually, I'm going to be honest. No, 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 no. If I was gonna evoke something out of the Star Wars mythology, I would evoke Darth Bane. Are you familiar with Darth Bane?
I know. It's in the books.
So YouTube has a trilogy book by Parpashian was the guy's last name. That he wrote 3 books of the trilogy of Darth Bane, and this was like 1,000. I think it was 1,000 years before the actual movies took place, where the Sith basically ruled the galaxy. And Darth Bane, so the original. Okay, because let me back up. The Emperor, he was good at manipulating people and he could shoot lightning out of his hands, and that's about it. Like, really, when you look at his powers, he did later on in the series, he started showing how he had powers over death. He could actually escape death, so that's pretty cool. But like, Darth Bane had was covered in these insects, these like beetles that stuck to him. They would feed off of the force energy in him, and but they would also create a shield, so that was impenetrable by lightsabers or blasters or anything like that. So he was basically invincible. But reading some of the stories, Darth Bane, Darth Revan, those ancient Sith lords, they were more like dark gods. whereas I think the modern Sith Lords, or the modern, really, we're looking at just a few. We're looking at Ren, Kylo Ren, the Emperor, and Darth Vader. They're more like just sorcerers, not necessarily gods.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why for you Lucifer and Satan are two separate entities?
Wait, okay, so I'm sorry, say that again.
Why for you Lucifer and Satan are two different entities?
Well, I mean, the simple answer is because I call Satan and one guy appears, and I call Lucifer and a completely different guy shows up.
For me too, yeah.
So that's the biggest thing. It's like, wait a minute, these are two different people, but that's only the way that they're manifesting to me and to us. They're showing themselves as people. They're showing themselves as personalities, whereas I think at their core they're a lot more than that. And so perhaps Satan, Lucifer, Beelzebub, perhaps all of these demons are the same dark force that's just projecting itself differently. Like I said earlier, I don't exist in this body. I exist everywhere, and I'm using this body to communicate. So I'm thinking maybe these demons are doing the same thing, that it is one dark force that's speaking through these different manifestations. That's just an idea. I'm going to be honest. I don't have solid answers for this because I'm only working within my own subjective experience. I summon a demon. I see what it looks like. I see what it says. I'm like, that's a different guy than Lucifer. Completely different. Completely. But it's almost like they do seem like those two specifically. It's just the other side of the same coin. The one is darkness and one is light, but it's almost the same spirit, Yeah.
I ask you a last question because I have 5 minutes left.
Okay, cool.
For recording. Have you ever wanted to stop magic to devote your life to something very different? To quit magic because it's too much overwhelming and
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I get no. Geez, no. It's never, at this point in my life. There's never a question of like I want to quit magic. There's definitely a question of, do I want to keep teaching magic? Do I want to keep being a public figure in magic? Because that's what brings me the problems. Doing magic for my own self, that solves all my problems. That gives me everything that I need in life. But teaching magic, going out and like doing podcasts, doing my weekly radio show, internet shows, doing these kinds of things are it's fun. I love it, but it does cause a lot of hassle. But being a business owner is a lot of hassle too. There's a lot of stress and anxiety that goes along with just running any business. And so when I think about it, because that's like a temptation that comes to me. It's just a little temptation every now and again when things get really stressful. It become a living God. When I've got a lot of haters coming after me or whatever the problems are that I'm having. In those moments, I'll be like, oh, dude, I just want to go back to doing cabinets. Like staining cabinets is so easy. It's so fun. And I can get paid good money to do it. But then as I sit with that a little bit more, it's like, wait a minute, I'm not the kind of person that can just keep my mouth shut about things. Like I can't just sit there and not tell the world what I'm experiencing. So even if I tried to not write another book or do another video, I would end up doing it. It would be something that would just pull me back every time. Same thing with magic, because I've taken breaks from magic. At one point I was feeling like I was going crazy. I was getting really suicidal. I was getting really angry all the time, and I knew that it wasn't just me, that I was I was doing too much magic. I was calling too many different energies into my life. And so I took 3 months off. I just said for 3 months, I'm not doing rituals for hire. I'm not doing rituals for myself. Just 3 months of nothing. And then I think I lasted maybe 2 weeks before I went back to magic. Like 2 weeks is all I could take, because I was like, 3 months, I got to take a solid 3 months, and then 2 weeks later, I'm like, fuck, I can't do this anymore. I've got to do it. It's like, it is my greatest addiction. Magic is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, awesome, man. We're about to run out of time, and I do have another appointment I've got to get on to, but it's been awesome chatting with you, Joffrey.
Yeah. See you.
You have a good one. We'll talk soon. Bye.
Bye.